All right, so we just finished creating our rig, and we are now ready to go into the adjustments that allow us to get this rig matched up to our mesh. So if I click on the character object and I change to adjust mode, the first thing you'll notice is how this interface adjusts. So now we've got these simple controls. And one thing you'll notice as we begin to pull around, at least on the symmetrical pieces, as we saw when we built these, they will actually update the adjustments symmetrically as well. So that means we only really have to get one side locked in, and it's going to do the work on the other side for us. All right, so the first thing I want to do is kind of get the spine corrected, because we can see that I'm off here, and sometimes it's good to go into your multiple view sets to get a better look at how your mesh is lining up to your rig, or vice versa in this case. So you can see here I can drag this up here a little bit to where it's more accurate, where I want to begin to get controls, and I can blow this up, kind of focus on this view at the moment. So bring this up to about here, bring the head down to about jawline here. Maybe bring this down a little bit. It's really just a null, so it doesn't factor in the actual rig. And I can disable my X and Z's if I want to make sure I don't change any part of the rig unintentionally. So now that I've got the spine in place, I begin to work with the legs and get them moved up according to my mesh as well. Now, one thing that's great about this is if I hold the 7 key, I can move these joints independent of the children. So for example, if I grab the knee right now without holding the 7 key, you notice that it moves everything. Everything adjusts with it that is subordinated below the knee joint. So I'm going to pull this back just a little bit, and then again bring the foot down better to match the shape here. And then I can bounce back into maybe the perspective view, see how things are looking here. So one big thing I'm going to need to do is pull out these guys on the X. Drag these out about here. And again, pull these out a little bit. Maybe up a little bit as well. Fine-tuned here. Looks pretty good so far. Now I can move up to the left and right arms. So it's all about using the multiple views you have to get this configured correctly. So again, you can change your views. If you go up to panel, you could do 2 views side by side, for example. So for example, it might not be a bad idea to use the top view here to help me position the elbow. So I can move that into place. Turn all these guys on. Move that into place. Adjust the hand, which we would kind of think of the wrist here. But then also be able to see that in perspective mode. See that I need to move the shoulder back quite a bit. This is one of those situations of I've already moved the other joints. I can hold that 7 key again and just move maybe the shoulder and collar joints without affecting all of those subordinated joints here. Put that guy back down. And so now it's just a matter of doing the details with the hand. And again, this will kind of take using the multiple views to get this configured correctly. And it's another place where that 7 key is probably going to come in handy at some point as I begin to fine-tune the joint positions. And I can just check with both of these views to see that I'm getting this just right. So I'll do one more finger. Rein these guys in a little bit here. Close there. Oops. Okay, just a little bit. Probably need to do a slight bit of straightening up there. So I would just do that with the remaining 3 fingers. One thing I do want to talk about is the configuration of these foot knolls that surround. So you'll see if I just hover over here, I get the controls, ball rock outer, ball rock inner, and then that's the overall control one. Then the heel rock, which is already put in a really good spot here. Really all these look to be pretty good. One thing to note, let's say I wanted this to hug the foot a little bit closer. So if I bring that in, you'll notice that the other 2 move as well. So again, that's where if those are positioned in a good spot, you might want to hold the 7 key. And same thing here, if I were to move the rock inner, you'll notice that the heel rock adjusts as well. So if I'm happy, which I'm quite happy with the position initially of that heel rock, I don't want it to move when I adjust these other controls. So I just hold the 7 key and pull that into place. Let's be back here a little bit. Maybe want this one to come up just a hair. But so this gives you control over those individually without taking into account the hierarchy and moving the other controls. This will allow you to rotate your foot in multiple ways, giving you the best flexibility in creating a realistic foot pivot situation. So that's it. I'm going to go back and finish the hand, and then we'll be ready to look at binding the mesh and all the details that go into that phase of the workflow.